All right. Well, next up in our series, we have mSj Dreamer versus. Now, they say this guy's name is Ninja, but I can't find him in the Tier 1 list. And I'm wondering if it was a misspelling and it's supposed to be Ninjo. Because there's a Ninjo who's...
There's no Ninja. Maybe. I think it's probably a misspelling there. But a little bit of background on this player. I don't know too much about Ninjo. I know that he was in the CPL last season, I want to say. Dreamer, very good player. He actually was one of the qualifiers in the top 2 qualifiers for that Russian Cup that I believe that Erdman as well, one of our coaches for CPL, managed to qualify for. So he is a very top tier, tier 1 player, one of the players that people need to watch out for. I believe he plays Protoss. So that's what I know about him. I didn't end up playing him in that one cup, but again, very solid player, qualified as a top 2 from the qualifying stages, and is someone you need to watch out for.
Well, you know, I've actually run into Dreamer several times in the past over several different smaller tournaments and leagues and whatnot. He's a very capable Protoss player. I will definitely enjoy watching his play here, and he definitely deserves the tier 1 ranking that he has. So let's jump right in. Again, of course, the first map is Circuit Breakers. Let's get it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Circuit Breaker, as usual, our starting map for the week 1 of the preseason. I'm not sure if they changed it up. Did they change it up? I'm actually not sure. I should probably do that because I have a match to be played later. So that's...
Actually, I have to play Fox right after this. Maybe you should just come obs that.
Maybe I could. We could just keep the stream going. I could just commentate over it and do it live. Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, we're going to start off here on Circuit Breaker. mSj Dreamer going to be spawning here at the bottom left-hand position as the purple Protoss, which means that up here at the top left, it's going to be our teal Terran Ninjo. You're right, it is Ninjo.
All right, and I don't know anything about Ninjo. I can't find any information about him. He must be brand new to the league, but not only is he brand new to the league, he's obviously very competent for him to be ranked in Tier 1 and for us to not know anything about him. So I'm really excited to see what kind of style TVP that he likes to play. Because, you know, a lot of Terran players, I mean, there's lots of different builds and things you can go. But the fun thing about watching players over and over again is you start to get a feel for their style and the way they like to approach a matchup. And I know Dreamer, when he likes to play PvT, he likes to play, and there it is. I was going to say, he likes to play very aggressive, and there we go, pylon in the center of the map.
Yeah, center gateway coming out here from Dreamer. Really wants to punish any kind of greedy build, maybe a 1x fast expand, 14cc, you name it. This guy is going to punish you for that. We'll see how much he commits to it. One gateway going down here. Will the probe stay around? No, it's going to go scout. So it's just going to be a 1 gateway attack here from him. And this probe should be able to scout out both of the right positions before the gateway finishes. So you'll know exactly where Ninjo is going to be spawning. But Ninjo's actually got a good wall off here with the barracks and supply depot, leaving a micro hole there for the Marines, and not even going for the 1x fast expand, going immediately into a gas and a very early scout. I would say this is a little bit atypical of a Terran versus Protoss scout. This is you know, typically I would say after you start building the refinery, you wait 1 or 2 SCVs, but he sent an SCV immediately after his refinery started. So early scout, he's gonna know exactly what Dreamer, or at least he's gonna know what most likely Dreamer is gonna be doing here with this build when he scouts him.
Well, absolutely, he's doing the smart thing. He's checking the closest spawn to him, and he's gonna find Dreamer right away and see, oh crap, there's a pylon, there's no gateways, there's no gas, something's going on. This is gonna tip him off to play a little bit more conservative and be on the lookout for something extreme. In this case, a forward gateway from Dreamer. Now that it's been scouted, Ninjo just needs to be really careful with that Marine. Like you said, there's that little gap between the barracks and supply depot. For those that aren't aware, you can run Marines through that gap, but Zealots cannot follow. So you can micro around Zealots using SCVs also to block pathing if you so choose, and you can defeat a rush like this. But it all comes down to micro and control, and both players have a very consistent APM. So I'm excited to see how Dreamer's going to pull this out for himself.
Yeah, Ninjo already using that micro hole there, but we just gotta watch out. That SCV building that factory is a little bit out of position right now, and this probe also needs to watch out before it goes down. The Zell has already taken a decent amount of shield damage, but he needs to protect all these SCVs. Loses 1 SCV already, and now he's got to kind of watch out for these this one Zealot right here and continue to use that micro hole disadvantage. Really wants to pick up that probe as well. That probe is gonna be super annoying in this attack. The second Zealot is here now, and another, it looks like another supply depot being built, another micro hole for those Marines. Another SCV goes down, so 2 SCVs have gone down right now. He probably wants to start a Vulture immediately. And a good block off here with the SCVs, but the one Marine does end up going down.
And he's got a lot on his hands. He's trying to micro against the probe. He's trying to micro against several zealots, but he's doing great for himself. Oh, the pylon block to stop the machine shop. Not really going to stop
the zealot in the back.
More SCVs. Oh my gosh, this is just great control by both players.
Yeah, absolutely. But the Vulture's out right now, which means infinite amount of Zealots are going to be able to be microed away here from this Vulture. The Pylon getting canceled, forcing that factory lift out to build that machine shop. But this one Zealot is going to go down. But I think he got enough damage here. He ended up picking one of the Marines, quite a few SCVs. But now that this one Vulture's out, he really needs to make sure that this first Dragoon that's being built runs back to his base, because he's got absolutely no defense here if this Vulture just runs home to be able to pick off some probes right now. But I think Ninja's making the wrong decision. He's going after the gateway, not going after the probes right now, which are very undefended.
Yeah, this is definitely a mistake. He doesn't have Spider Mine's delay there to stop that Dragoons. He should have ran straight for the Protoss base. He could have easily picked off a couple probe kills and actually evened up the disadvantage he gained. Because even though while they're very similar in supply, Ninjo has more fighting units compared to Dreamer. So he needs to kill some probes here. He needs to get at least 4 probes to even up the econ.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to kill 4, because remember that Dreamer did commit quite a bit to that earlier gateway, but he managed to kill 3 probes. I think that was worth it from that Vulture trade. He did a pretty good job of managing to get a decent amount of those probes. I do think Dreamer still is a little bit ahead, considering that Ninjo has actually not started up that command center. He instead went for the bunker just to play a little bit more safe, but I really feel that with the siege tank out already, with the 4 Marines, he didn't really need the bunker just yet.
Well, you can't be too careful. You don't know. He doesn't know. He saw the one gateway there. He saw the second gateway being built. He saw the cybernetics core spinning. You know, he definitely, I feel, could have gotten a command center down first before the bunker. But in this case, he's playing extra safe. He does not want to lose to any other kind of trickery that Dreamer could send his way. Great micro here, pulling the tank forward, but he's got to get it back. Don't lose that siege tank.
Nice snipe on the mine right there from Dreamer, and actually gonna snipe the, no, doesn't get the second mine, but he's gonna get the Vulture. Actually, no, interesting targeting right there. There you go. Now the Vulture goes down. That one tank is actually very, very low, so he's gotta really be careful that this tank doesn't go down. 36 HP. So now it's at 2 shots right now, and these Dragoons with the Dragoon range are gonna really be able to start doing quite a bit of damage here at the front. He needs to pull SCVs to really start defending. Nice mine snipe there as well, and now he's gonna start targeting down that bunker. So Ninja really needs to pull SCVs here to defend the bunker. The bunker's not getting repaired right now. It's down to 60 HP. He's gonna end up losing this bunker potentially.
Spam repair, spam repair. There's an animation you can do if you just right click at a bunker that's full of Marines. You can actually repair faster than normal. I don't see him doing it. These Dragoons luckily aren't focusing fire. Oh, it's gonna be close. Looks like the SCVs are barely gonna pull it out.
Yeah, he's going to be able to pull it out here. The 2 gateways from Dreamer are really putting on a lot of pressure onto this bunker right now. And the fact that the SCVs now are completely surrounded. Uh-oh, the SCV glitch here. The bunker's not getting repaired as much as we hope it would be. But again, once that siege mode finishes now... Oh, wait, the barracks actually went down. That's
barracks
huge.
never got repaired. Bunker's not getting repaired. It might go down here. Siege tank mode is finished, but it's just a little too late. These Dragoons are going to start picking off these forward units, and they'll be able to get in and start focusing on that siege tank. He needs more Vultures to start putting down mines, or they're just going to run right in and snipe those tanks. But luckily, Ninja's getting some breathing room here. Those Dragoons have pulled back. Yeah,
but look on the other side of the map. A Reaver is being built right now for Dreamer, so really trying to take advantage of the fact that Ninjo is probably too preoccupied trying to get defenses up to defend his base against these Dragoons. Meanwhile, there's no turrets in the main, only 1 turret right out front of the natural, but unfortunately for him, that's not going to do anything against a Reaver because he needs a turret right now inside of the mineral line at his main base.
Absolutely, but he has no idea this is coming. He has not been able to get another scout out since that Vulture, quite a while ago. He's playing blind here, which is why he's, I don't see a comsat. He's safe from DT in his mind, but he's not prepared for the Reaver that's coming at all. And it'll be interesting if Dreamer tries to drop in the rear and try to force the Terran to pull back and then bust the front, or if he's going to use that Reaver, because that's been a trend lately, using the Reaver to help break down the front door. And that shuttle is kind of maneuvering around to the front.
Yeah, absolutely. He does have 2 Zealots in there as well, so it's going to be a pretty big bust if he can. The Dragoons will have to watch out for that one Spider-Man out front. But no, never mind. He's just going to go straight for the main. Oh, it looks like he's just going to go for the break here. The shuttle might just try to drop on top of these siege tanks. And that's exactly what he's going for here. Here comes the break right now. The Zealots are getting right on top of the tanks. The Reaver is out here. Big Mind Drag killing off 2 Dragoons, but a couple SCVs. The Reaver goes down immediately. And right now, maybe if you can pick up both of these Zealots right here, the tanks are going to be able to siege up back on the high ground, but the Zealots are doing quite a bit of damage to these tanks. The tanks are really preoccupied. Meanwhile, the Dragoons out in front here continuing to lay havoc on this natural base. But this one tank at the front getting repaired. They're now dropping inside the base.
The elevator. Oh my gosh, that's just some sick play right there. Using the shuttle, the elevator right in, because the SCVs were blocking the ramp, but Dreamer doesn't care. He's bringing those Dragoons right up, saying, hello, I don't care that you got SCVs in the way. Unfortunately, 2 Dragoons might not be able to kill this tank while those SCVs are just spamming repair on it.
Yeah, exactly. So Dreamer, a little bit of an overcommit there at the end, not even able to kill off these 2 last siege tanks. But luckily for him, he still did so much damage to Ninja's economy. Ninja is so far behind right now in that worker count, and the fact that he had to pull SCVs to defend right there, and the fact that he can't really breathe right now. There are still so many Dragoons coming out of these 2 gateways that just running across the map. The barracks goes down again. That's another 150 minerals that Ninja is gonna have to start, and he immediately starts that barracks. But again, look at back home. Dreamer has got that second Nexus coming up right now, and we'll see. He's actually getting another Reaver behind this, so gonna not let up the pressure, gonna continue to go after this base of Ninja.
Yeah, when you got the Terran on the back foot, the worst thing you can do is, well, one, throw away your entire army, which, Dreamer did because he really wanted to limit that tank count, but luckily he kept up on that macro, so he rebuilt that army. But you want to keep the Terran on the back foot as long as possible, because it looks like he's trying to maybe save up minerals to take a 3rd base at his mineral only, and that's what you need to do. You need to always stay 1 base ahead of the Terran, and here comes that Reaver and that damaged shuttle.
Yeah, once again, Ninja starting at that +1 attack upgrade for his mech units, maybe a little bit early. But
this is dangerous.
Oh, yes, it is right now. You can see that this shuttle is just going to drop right on top of maybe these mines are going to be a big mine drag. The Dragoon gets a big mine drag right there onto that Vulture. All the tanks are dead. All the units are dead from Ninja right now. Ninja has just one Vulture right now. A tank is on the way, but I feel like he can just run in here with these Dragoons, pick up the turrets, and then he's going to have full leeway to just go after this base of Ninja.
That was a really risky move by Ninjo to move out in front beyond those walling mechanisms that he had in place, and he actually played right into Dreamer's hands, and now he's suffering the consequences for it. He's doing great microing and trying to just salvage the situation.
Oh, the mine!
Oh, God, he had no idea that was there because he lost the observer. That is going to work in Ninja's favor, but more Protoss units are streaming in.
I just feel like the wave of units here from Dreamer is just a little too much from Ninja. I don't see a way for Ninja to equalize the position. That's the issue right now. Structurally, I think Ninja is kind of okay because of the way he's been handling it. But the fact of the matter is, he's been denied mining. He doesn't have the macro capabilities right now of continuing to defend. These Zealots are getting right on top of the tanks, so these Dragoons back at the back are going to kill the barracks for the 3rd time.
Again. The great thing about Ninja is he has pulled SCVs every time to back up those tanks, and if he had lost those tanks to those Zealots, he'd be in a very worse position. But as it stands, he's just barely holding on with his fingertips. This is what I was talking about before, guys. If you can hang on by your fingertips and hang on, sometimes the other player will overcommit on the micro and forget about macro tech expanding, and you can get your way back into the game. And I am actually really impressed by Ninja being able to achieve that. He is going to be a base behind. He is down on tanks and Vultures. But
well,
you know what?
I don't know about that. Look, he's starting his command center in his main base right now. He's actually felt so comfortable at this position that he's able to grab this 3rd base for himself. So these bases are actually started at roughly the same time. I actually think that Ninja's held on, stabilized, and in fact, he's probably ahead right now.
Absolutely. I think the best thing for him to do, I 100% agree, take an expansion, get to a 2-1 upgrade advantage, do a nice 2-1 push at maybe about 160 supply, 180 supply, while taking his 4th base, and see what damage he can do to punish the Protoss. If the Protoss overexpands and doesn't commit to building an army, that could hurt him.
Yeah, absolutely, and we need to see that barracks being restarted. Okay, it's actually started in the main, so he will be able to start making factories once again. +1 upgrade is actually finished right now for the Terran. He's actually started +1 plating upgrade, and meanwhile, look at these Vultures coming in here. Maybe we'll be able to get inside the main. There's actually, the wall is not complete. The Vultures are getting inside. Dreamer's going to end up losing all these probes, hit the natural, and maybe even putting Spider Mines right in front of the gateways, but instead he's just going to go after the probes. A ton of damage, so Dreamer is just actually going to go for the all-in here at the front. He needs to break this. One tank goes down the back. The Zealots are doing a pretty good job. A nice mine drag here onto the tanks. Big mine drags on the tanks.
Yeah, definitely those zealots running past, dragging those mines into the tank line, working to his favor. Now these dragoons can get up and close, impersonal, in the natural, taking down those turrets, taking down those buildings once again. SCVs forced to flee. Luckily, though, they're going to be able to...
Block the ramp and repair!
They save the tank! Go back, my fellows!
Repair!
Me, crying out.
Oh, the dragoons are targeting tank on the high ground. The tank managing to survive right now. Ninjo, I think he's gonna be able to hold on. He managed to kill so many probes back at home. Look how many probes. He still got one vulture in the middle, in the main mineral line. All these probes are going down. He's only got 7 probes mining minerals back at the main base. Only 5 right now at his natural. He has held on for dear life. And in fact, he's at a 30 or almost a 20 supply lead right now. And now he's pushing back the army of Dreamer.
That vulture in Dreamer's main base had 12 probe kills. Absolutely insane. Huge damage to Dreamer's economy. This is the kind of play that's going to help him get back in the game. He actually hasn't lost that many SCVs because he's been so dutiful in retreating them back. I mean, and then blocking the ramp and saving the siege tank, and just great multitasking from Ninjo. I'm actually super impressed. He was able to not only get the vulture kills in the main on Dreamer, but he's successfully taken the 3rd base, and there's nothing Dreamer can do about it.
Yeah, and it's just incredible right now. Look at the SCV count of his. The main base is fully saturated. The natural is working its way back up to saturation. He's already got about, I would say, a whole control group of SCVs here mining his natural. His 3rd base has already got 8 SCVs. Meanwhile, look at the saturation of Dreamer. 2 probes at the 3rd base. Only 10 probes at the natural and only 10 probes at the main. He's got no probe saturation whatsoever. How is he supposed to grab a 4th base now at this point before Ninjo is ready to move across the map? And more vultures streaming across the map here on the right side, evading the scouting of that center gateway.
This is a very precarious situation for the Protoss. I don't think he was expecting that vulture in the main base to survive, but the spider mines that laid down killed all the zealots, and he was so busy multitasking. Oh, the vulture's running in, picking off even more probes, doing even more economic damage to Jimmer. Oh, but the Arbiter... Oh, I thought I was like, well, that's a pin play right there, using the Arbiter to save the probes, but then it just kept flying away, and the probes were all like, meow.
Yeah, Ninjo has done a fantastic job of utilizing these vultures to harass the, I mean, at this point, right, like, the thing with Dreamer is, structurally, he might have a decent army right now. He has good tech. He's got the Arbiter out already. He's got quite a few Dragoons to kind of push back any kind of vulture rest. But the problem is when Ninjo's ready to push across the map with these siege tanks, I mean, he's got 2 machine shops now, adding on 5th and 6th factory. How does he stop this push? He's going to have to get the most clutch stasis field you've ever seen. Either that or he's got to recall and just hold Ninjo back as much as possible. Because Ninjo's now got his academy. He's got scan on the way. He's got the first vessel coming out as well. He's probably going to start +2 upgrade on this army. He got double army right now. He just needs to get more gas.
Absolutely, and I think we're going to be seeing a push from Ninjo here very shortly, and when he does that, he's going to take that 12 o'clock expansion and secure that 3rd gas. As a Protoss player, and I know this myself, you never want to be behind in supply on a Terran player, and look at this. He's only 10 supply behind, but that's because he's been pumping army, and he's been losing probes. So while it looks close in terms of supply, the econ, the number of workers is solidly in Ninjo's favor right now, and he's just going to keep capitalizing on that, building more and more units. If you look in the natural here, look how many siege tanks there are. There's a sizable push coming, and it's coming soon. He might be waiting for an upgrade.
Yeah, back at home, started the +2 upgrade finally on that armory. The first vessel has also finished at this point. And, Dreamer's doing a pretty good job of trying to stabilize here again. He's managing to deflect this vulture harass here in the middle of the map. He's going to be able to save his probes right now, grabbing a 4th base at the same time. But again, while we say he's going to grab a 4th base, Ninjo grabbing a 4th base of his own, and when he gets that 3rd gas, I mean, he's going to be able to add on another machine shop, 3 factories worth building tanks constantly. Is just going to be too much for Dreamer to handle. I mean, his army is trying to still get built up again, but look at it. He's got 4 gateways. I mean, how are you going to compete with the Terran that's building from 6 factories right now?
It's going to be a very precarious situation for Dreamer. Absolutely, you mentioned before that he needs to get godlike stasises, and that's absolutely what he's going to need in an upcoming engagement. I think Ninjo is going to move out at 160 supply.
Oh, the spider mines!
Especially with these spider mines doing, oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Protoss army, no observer anywhere in sight. And the vulture run by again, heading into the main base. All these
he's going to get probes.
open.
Oh my god, and Ninjo is just having his way with this game right now. More probes going down. These vultures are just going to run through here to the 4th base. No probes here. Luckily, the cannons are going to be able to kill off a couple of these vultures. But again, it's just annoying because Dreamer, not only does he, every time this happens, right? Not only is he losing probes, he has to give up map control, which means now Dreamer is going to be able to kind of breathe more, get his 4th command center up, which he's getting. And the fact of the matter is, he is not going to take any damage on a counterattack while he's getting his 4th base up. Dreamer has to pull back all of his units to defend against these vultures, which means he's going to be able to continue to get further and further ahead. He started at +2. +2 is now about 2/3 of the way done. He's got so many tanks back at home. The vessel's out. I wonder if he started EMP. No, he hasn't yet. But again, more factories being built for Ninjo, and everything is going Ninjo's way right now. After the beginning,
geez, everything's unsieging in the natural. Ninjo is going to start pushing out here very shortly. And God, yeah, like you mentioned before, the Protoss player is just playing the Benny Hill music, chasing after those vultures. And here we go, push from Ninjo coming across now. What is Dreamer gonna do? He's still got his 2 arbiters.
Look at these. Oh my, this is so smart from Ninjo. Keeping back 4 vultures here for when he brings the push out. Might just go and harass the units here. But now he's starting to siege up tanks in the middle of the map. A lot of good spider mites here out in front. Does not want to get him. Does a decent amount of beautiful stasis at the front. And 2 great stasis actually. He might actually be able to attack this, but no. The stasis tanks at the front actually serving as kind of a blockade for the Dragoons here. So the back tanks might hold up. Actually, wait, he had so many stasis. He's actually going to be able to take this fight.
Oh my gosh, the stasis has worked amazingly in Dreamer's favor. This is exactly what he needed. He got the majority of those siege tanks locked out of the fight. He's going to be able to push back the vulture reinforcements that are coming. All he needs to do now is just keep macroing up his army, wait for that stasis to wear out, wipe out those tanks, and hope that Ninjo can't come and reinforce and save these guys.
Yeah, the stasis is about to wear off right now, but Ninjo is starting to creep forward. He's got to siege up those 2 tanks right now. Yeah, there he goes. The Vulture's doing a pretty good job body blocking, and the other stasis comes right as he sieges up. What a great timing there by Ninjo. Perfectly timed for the re-engage.
And then it turns into a flank, and then the Protoss army gets annihilated with only 4 gateways. Well, he's got a few more built now, but at this point, Ninjo has had his factories. He's had 8 factories going non-stop. Dreamer has to rebuild his whole army from what, 5 gateways? I feel like he's not going to be able to recuperate from this. I feel like he's going to get himself trapped on his side of the bridges.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is this push is coming too fast right now. The last 2 gateways, or not even, one of the gateways is still building. The last gateway just finished, so he was on 6 gateway production for the longest time. Now, Ninjo's doing the smart thing here. Actually, no, he's going to look just go on a high ground plateau right there. If he takes the high ground, I really don't see a way for Dreamer to kind of push him back.
He's got a pitifully small army, like literally 13 units against like 3 control groups of Terran army. He doesn't even need to siege. Look at him. He's not even going to siege. He's like, this is not even worth my time. This is a pitiful amount of units.
There's the siege coming out. Oh, the Spider's doing a lot of damage to those vultures, in fact. The vultures were all in red health before they managed to make contact with that tank line. And this push is just coming way too fast and way too soon for Dreamer to deal with. Dreamer's economy was shattered from the early game. And Ninja, you got to say, man, that hold in the early game against the Reavers, against the Shuttles, so many times he felt like he was out of the game, but instead he managed to claw his way back in, waiting for a mistake from Ninja to push too far, and now look at him, he's going to siege down his 3rd base.
And yeah, I absolutely agree. Dreamer got too greedy with his attacks, lost too many units, wasn't able to...
the probes!
Vulture harass. Oh, so many blasted out of existence, my poor robotic fellows.
Yeah, it's just crazy right now. Vulture's scouting out the rest of the map, so he knows that there's no other base right now for Dreamer, except for that 4th base at the 12, or at the 6, sorry. And when he finishes off this army right here out front, if he doesn't... Oh, there's the GG. I was about to say, if Dreamer didn't tap out there, he just runs to the 6, kill that base, and at that point, it's pretty much game. What a great game, you gotta say.
Oh man, that was an amazing game too. I mean, game 1 was probably definitely frustrating for Ninjo, and I'm sure the early game was a nail biter for him. I'm sure he was sweating bullets. And after, I know when you win a game like this as a player, you come back from such a disadvantage in the beginning, and then being able to just keep building on small mistakes by your opponent and capitalizing it, it's a snowball effect. Snowball starts at the top of the mountain, by the time it gets to the bottom, it's an avalanche, and he totally overwhelmed Dreamer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought Dreamer was the one doing the avalanche in the early game, but you know, he managed to chip out away. He managed to like get enough trees in the way of that avalanche to kind of break up that big snowball, and managed to recuperate there to the point where, you know, when the last attack came, it was kind of just a waft of snow coming down the mountain, almost a playful, if you would, that would just tickle him instead of, you know, being his massive rocky avalanche that would overwhelm him. But what a great game from both these players. I mean, you gotta say Ninjo, we don't know much about him, but I would say that his defense looks crisp. You know what, it reminds me, I don't know if you follow the KSL, but it reminds me of Mini versus Last on Fighting Spear in Game 4 of the group stages, where Last looks like he was about to get overwhelmed by Mini's massive shuttle drops and managed to hold out there, slow push his way across snap, and win the game.
You know, I haven't seen that series, so I think I'm going to have to take a look at that. But what I got going on in my head right now is, like, Marines and Zealots, like giggling, like, hee, and throwing snowballs at each other. We need to see more snow maps.
Where's Carbot, man? Carbot with his animations will do a good job of that.
So now we're on to Roadkill, which would be Dreamer's pick. And, you know, I know a lot of Protoss complaining about this map. How they feel like there's a lot of abuse points. If you let the Terran get up in your face and abuse those siege points outside your, you know, because they can siege from the low ground and hit your third and then if they take the high ground, they can siege your main and your natural at the same time.
Yep.
If you let the Terran get to that point, absolutely. But I feel this is a really strong Protoss map, and that I'll tell you why. Lots of cliffs. Carriers are great here.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, two-base carrier is by far the best strategy on this map. I feel like carriers just feel like they're almost unbeatable on this map as long as you just don't mess up too hard. And the fact that matters, I agree with you. The middle is really open. There's a lot of flank paths as well. If Terran tries to move around the side, you can flank from behind. You can flank from 3 directions when he tries to push down from the high ground points to the low ground points. And for the fact that matter is, this map is really good for Terran, but only if Terran can get up to your base. If you stop him before that, this map I think is actually pretty solid for Protoss.
Absolutely. And another great thing that works for Protoss is those corner expansions. It's so easy to just pylon wall those off. You can even sneak one if you're close positions to a Terran, you sneak off an expansion in the opposite corner. Because then if a Terran tries to go kill that third, they leave their natural open or possibly their army open to a flank. This is a great map for Protoss. If you can survive any kind of early game timing attacks, you can swing it definitely to your favor. But these are both very capable players. I mean, we just saw Ninjo come back from like the cusp of death and win on a standard macro map. So I'm really excited to see what strategy he employs here.
Yep. Let's jump right into game number 2. I'm actually very excited. These guys have been playing so well. You've got to say, again, Ninja up 1-0 here, and these guys just, I mean, you got to say, these guys are probably the cream of the crop maybe in Tier 1. I mean, Dreamer, we already know, and Ninja, the fact that he managed to play so well from behind there, so capable, I mean, it's just incredible to watch him play. So, going to game number 2 on Roadkill at the 3 o'clock position as the Brown Terran, it's going to be Ninjo, which means at the 12 o'clock expansion, close positions, as you said before, it's going to be the Protoss Dreamer.
And so, like I mentioned, when you're in close positions like this, and actually particularly in this position, a Protoss player could proxy gate some gateways at his third mineral only and be able to keep nice, because the disadvantage Terran has here is they don't have a ramp they can hold. If you know, on lots of maps where it's a reverse, because when you're, let me start over. When you're on the low ground, you start on the low ground, you can't wall off on the low ground. Some Terrans used to do that, wall off on the high ground, then they do a timing attack. You can't do that here. Actually, a great opener for Terran would be an expansion build, but you gotta be careful because a 10-15 timing goon range gate can bust you.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be very careful about that. Dreamer not going for that forward gateway this time. Going to put the pylon inside of his base. Ninjo, nothing too out of the ordinary right now. Gone for that supply depot first. But as you said before, the dynamic of a TVP on this map, close positions, is so crazy because it's almost like a race between Terran to push to the natural of Protoss fast enough before Protoss, if they end up going carriers, gets them. Because it's almost like, you know, Terran on this map really wants to do 2 factory, 4 factories, even 6 factory aggression builds. Because the fact of the matter is, close positions, they just need to get across that low ground area between the 2 high grounds. And if they can get up to the high ground, it's really difficult for Protoss to break it unless they have some insane shuttle drops or some insane flank. And I just feel like, I think that's probably what Ninjo is going to opt for this game, is maybe one of those aggressive factory builds.
You know what this map actually honestly reminds me of? Or similar? Python. Python kind of had that same dynamic. You had the 2 close bases on either side of the map. This is a little bit more evenly spread out, but you know, because Dreamer and Ninjo are so close together, very easy to do drop plays. I mean, Ninjo could easily do that himself. Get a dropship, load it with vultures, and be inside Dreamer's base very quickly for some vulture harass.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that and on the other side of the map, Reaver harass on this map is very good because of how open that main base is, especially. And the fact of the matter is, you can't build turrets like on the behind the natural mineral line.
Yeah, in that little pocket area. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of difficult, not the most difficult, but it's kind of difficult to defend against Reaver if in shuttle drops, if that is the path that Dreamer decides to opt for. But I really think that if Dreamer opts for carriers, if Ninjo can't kill him before the carriers get too much damage on, the game is going to be over. Because look how close, if he builds the carriers towards the right side of his base, look how close that air distance
They're literally right there.
Exactly. They spawn and immediately start attacking the command center or the SCV line of the natural of Ninja. So Ninja's going to be really careful about it. He should know that carriers definitely are a possibility on this map. But I think that because of the way he played in game 1, he should expect a pretty good, solid game plan for him in game number 2.
Well, early Zealot harass coming out here. Already 3 Marines, though. Ninja shouldn't have any trouble out-microing the Zealot and dancing around it with his Marines. Taking a couple hits there, though. Yeah, I'm going to run back behind that wall.
There you go. Now he's behind the wall. Now the Zealot's going to be like, oh, what do I do? And, you know, almost no shields already. Only got 2 shots off, and the factory's already got the machine shop on. No pylon block this time, and he can just wait for the tank before these Marines try to push up. And the Zealot's just getting... Oh, managed to get 1 Marine kill, actually. That's pretty solid there from Dreamer. Miss micro there from Ninja, but again, the Zealot's almost dead, and... Oh, don't lose that Marine!
Oh no!
Oh man, you can't.
He couldn't get vision up that ramp, so he didn't know it was still there.
Oh, he might lose this Marine too! Ha! This Zealot's done so much damage. I really think that he needs to just pull 1 SCV. 1 SCV pull is not going to hurt your economy that badly, and it really just basically kills any kind of early Zealot pressure when you have at least 2 to 3 Marines. But this 1 Dragoon out here at the top as well is going to actually do a lot of damage. You know, 1 Dragoon, 1 Zealot is just going to be able to kill a siege tank immediately. So you got to be careful here if you're Ninja to make sure that you don't get crushed by this early aggression.
Well, this is all just a feint, too. Dreamer's not really putting... I mean, he's microing this and he's applying pressure, but the reason why he's applying pressure is because he's expanding. And he's pumping probes now. He's only got 1 gateway pumping units. He's got no robotics facility. He does have range spinning in there, but this is all a feint to keep Terran in his base and not do any kind of counter-aggression.
Yeah, that 1 Zealot managing to get another Marine there. So only 2 Marines and 1 tank right now. Now these Dragoons might be able to just go after these Marines and just soften them up. So there's nothing blocking the tank. But pretty good micro here from Ninja, managing to keep this tank untouched for now. And the Marines are starting to push forward a little bit. He's going to grab some map control back for himself.
So Dreamer bought himself the time he needed to get that expansion up. He's got 3 Dragoons. He just needs to hold that high ground, make sure he doesn't have, you know, the Terran run around and flank. I honestly expect Ninja to expand here. To start catching up in the econ game. He has to know Protoss is expanding behind this early aggression. Spider Mine's coming out. He'll be extra safe from this until observers come, because there is a facility warping. There could be those Reavers involved, like you mentioned before, Flash.
Yeah, this command center is almost done right now, and it looks like he's getting siege mode upgrade at the same time. But yeah, this Robo, I'm really curious to see if he's going to end up going for that Reaver, because again, he knows that this is a very close air distance, and the fact that the matter is the Robo is actually very close to that natural base, based upon where he built it, and it looks like he's just gone for observatory, nothing too crazy yet. He feels like, I mean, God, carry a Reaver on this map seems like just impossible. Imagine if Snow, for example, was controlling shuttle Reaver carrier on Roadkill. It just seems impossible for Terran to deal with.
You know, there's a lot of tricks up Protoss sleeve, but as we've seen from Ninjo, you know, you just got to keep a cool head sometimes. Just do what Flash does. Don't panic. Just stick to your build order and just make sure you're hitting your timings even when Protoss is trying to disrupt you. And so far, it's working out his favor. Starport down already. We might see some Vulture play if or some Vulture drops, I should say. Excuse me. As he tries to buy time for himself to get those upgrades and get that army going. But the reverse is true. Dreamer, he's got 3 gateways pumping a lot of units. We could see possibly maybe some kind of some shuttling into his base, into Ninjo's base.
Yeah, this first observer right now looks like he's going to head over to third base to clear out those spider mines. Because I know every good Protoss player knows that the first thing Terran is going to do with their early vultures is start to mine up outside of your base and mine up that third base so that you can't take it so easily. So he already knows what's going on. He's moving his observing Dragoons over to clear that out. Meanwhile, at the same time, Ninjo has started up his natural base, started mining there, grabbing that refinery so he can start building a lot more factories with that second gas. And we're going to have to see what this dropship is going to be able to be capable of doing. He might actually go for attack at the front to feint an attack to that he's going to go for an aggressive push and then just drop behind and kill as many probes as possible at the main base.
And that's definitely a possibility. I mean, we got the dropship building in this Terran starport. And Dreamer is still pumping out a constant stream of units as well. I mean, the supply count is just a little bit in favor of Protoss, which is normal at this point in the game. Protoss generally always wants to try to be an expansion ahead and about roughly 10 to 30 supply ahead of a Terran. I'm just kind of curious why there's no observers going across the map right now to check on the factory count. That's the crucial thing as a Protoss player you need to know is what is the factory count, because if you see 4 factories down and lots of units, you got to get ready for that push. So he's playing, I feel, a little bit too passively. He might not be prepared for what's coming his way. A dropship, 2 vultures, top right.
Yeah, and this is going to come and do a lot of damage right now. There's actually just nothing here to defend for Dreamer. We're going to see how fast his reaction timing is. But at the same time, yeah, you mentioned before, he's only got 1 observer on the map right now, and he's going for shuttle second. And look at this, the Vulture harass coming in, already getting a few probe kills right now, and this is just doing so much damage. It looks like Dreamer is just going to commit to attack at the front, not pulling any units back at all. Only Zealots back at home, but that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, he's trying to run his probes away, and he's going to just push
drop
right into this attack. Zealot
oh,
drop,
what a great Zealot bomb.
Dragoons pushing in. Oh my gosh, not enough spider mines down to protect those siege tanks. Not enough units at home. Trying to pull SCVs, but the GG from Ninjo. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, instant
what
GG.
A bust.
Absolutely. It was a great bust. That spider mine too close to those tanks, managing to drag into one of the tanks and the 2 Marines there. So yeah, even though he managed to do a decent amount of damage with that harass at the back, he opted for that really greedy drop into 3rd base build, realizing that, you know, he probably should have built a wall. Engineering base, supply depot, bunker at the front would have been great there.
Absolutely doing a little bit more of a wall, especially when he's trying to be cute with those little micro plays. You know, when you take out those vultures, those early vultures, and you take them out to go harass, he didn't drop any of their spider mines. Those vultures still had their mines. If he had left them behind, I mean, I know Dreamer did the Zealot bombing with the shuttle, and there was a lot of Dragoons there, but you really need to make sure you have something protecting those siege tanks as best you can.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. He needed to defend a lot better at the front. And in fact, like, again, if you're committing so many resources to starport, to dropship, to dropping those vultures out front, you need to make sure that the buildings you're making are going to be able to be there to kind of deter Protoss from trying to go for a counterattack, which is exactly what he ended up doing. And that's just the way it goes as Terran. You can't really let Protoss get any kind of foothold in the game, because if that's the case, you're just never going to be able to come back from them. But again, a great counterattack by Dreamer, great shuttle bomb, no turret out either, so the shuttle just walked in for free as well. So again, needing a little bit better of a defense next time, something he showed in game 1, but didn't show in game 2 because of a different strategy.
So now we're going back. Excuse me, not back. Now we're moving on. Ninjo is able to pick the map this time, and he picks Fighting Spirit. Again, just like Circuit Breaker, very standard macro game. And you know what? I think that tends to favor Ninjo a little bit more. He's getting into ground he's more comfortable with. He's getting into terrain he's more comfortable with. I mean, Roadkill only just came out, you know, 1, 2. I mean, I know it came out a while ago, but it only recently got added to the official map pool just a couple months ago. It's still a relatively new map that Terrans are still figuring out, whereas Fighting Spirit, very standard, and I think that's going to favor Ninjo.
Yep, let's jump right into game number 3 here. 1-1, an excellent series that we've got on our hands so far. Game 1, wonderful play. Game 2, once again, another great game that we saw here from both players. Again, a lot of counter play going on, and that's something that I really love to see in StarCraft games is, you know, I don't want to see a one-sided stomp. I want to see players back and forth with all that counter play. So we're jumping into game number 3 here on Fighting Spirit. Ninjo spawning up here at the... how did I get rid of this replay? Up, there we go. At the top right is the brown Terran. Cross positions favoring Protoss is going to be the blue Protoss Dreamer.
But not to be confused with Now Raw. That's a nickname.
Yeah.
Throwback for you.
Dreamer
new people out there. You know, everybody talks about Stork. Everybody talks about Shuttle and Mini and Snow and Rain. Man, I'm going it back old school. The original Dreamer Protoss, Now Raw. He set the staple for PvT. He, just like Bisu redesigned PvZ, Now Raw absolutely was the innovator for PvT, coming up with new strategies all the time to keep Terrans on their toes, which has led to a lot of staple strategies today. When you look at tricky plays by Protoss, they almost always originate from Now Raw.
Yeah, exactly. And Naru is also, not to mention, a very good Protoss versus Zerg player. Actually, one of the staples for the PvZ lineup back in the day. Remember, Zerg, when Savior came out, was just stomping everyone. Naru was one of the few Protoss that managed to stand up to Savior back in the day when he was just crushing everyone with his Zerg. But again, looks like both players are gobbling for standard again this time. Gateway barracks in the bases of their respective mains, and we're going to see the gas timings of both players as well.
You know, with both players being cross-position, we're probably going to see very standard openings, very standard macro. We might not even see a major engagement until closer to the 8-9 minute mark. I feel like both players are going to probably play. I mean, they're both down one. I mean, this game determines it all. What better way you either go for a rush build, you know, or a cheese, quote unquote, or you play super standard, super safe, and try to utilize your best mechanics to overcome the enemy player's mechanics. And I feel like that's the kind of mindset that both of these players are having going into Game 3 here. Just very standard openings across the board.
Yeah, cross position means that, you know, any kind of push, any kind of aggressive attack is just going to come that much later. And I mean, remember, this is close positions versus running across the map. The hypotenuse just makes it so much longer of a rush distance that it's just almost not worth going for it, because your opponent is going to have basically another macro cycle that comes out by the time your attack comes. So you're basically playing with a couple units down. So if you do go for an aggressive attack, you have to make it really, really creative and really smart, and almost basically an all-in at that point if you want to do any kind of damage with it.
Absolutely. Well, that's why in the first game, Dreamer opted for the proxy gate in the middle of the map, because it's just so huge, like Fighting Spirit. You know, that you try to give yourself those timing edges.
Citadel of a Dune here coming out from Dreamer. Looks like he's just going to try to end things off with the cheese. This
well, that
SCV,
ain't standard.
Oh, man. Yeah, this ain't standard at all. The SCV is going to have to try to look in the base. Oh, is he thinking he's going to go for a natural? No. Where is this SCV going? Oh, man. This is actually really bad here from Ninjo. Yeah, he's trying to see if the probe was going to... But now the Dragoon can just make sure the SCV never comes into the base anymore. This is a little bit of a misplay here from Ninjo. He should have counted the pylons, and if he realized that there's not a second or third pylon inside the base, he should go and scout the base. Otherwise, send a second SCV out to scout. He realizes that... Oh, man. Proxy Factory. Look at this. What a game.
Oh, man. So here I am, spouting off like I know what these guys are going to do, and I look like a freaking idiot. Both these players going for absolutely unorthodox strategies. Proxy Factory, one gate DT rush, and I don't know exactly what Ninja's going to do. He's going to put so much effort into this early push. It's all going to come down to Vulture mine placement. If he can take out the first DT with mines and then realize that there's that threat, he can easily seal the game into his favor as he plays more defensively with the spider mines.
Yeah, and that's really what's going to come down to. I honestly think this is my favorite Ninja, because he went for Spider Mines first, and he knows that if the opponent went DTs, he's going to put Spider Mines back at home to defend. And the fact that when Dreamer's going to walk out with that DT, he's not going to expect another factory making vultures, because by the time the DT is halfway across the map, all of a sudden, bam, vulture just showed right at the front door and start killing probes inside the base. How is he going to be able to defend against that?
Well, with only one gateway, and the DT is coming out, and it's going to come out right at about the 5 minute 30-second mark. It's all going to come down to how defensive is Ninja going to be with the factory back at base. Is he going to keep pumping tanks and he's going to leave himself exposed to a DT just running across the map? That's the first thing Dreamer's going to do, is run that DT across the map. The vultures that are massing in the mid left, those are the ones that are going to rush down, put down spider mines, but they're not going to catch this first DT. It all depends on if there's vultures coming out of that factory back at home to defend against this.
There are vultures coming out from the factory back at home. He's going to see how many Marines, how many tanks that Ninjo has gone for with this one Dragoon. There's actually just not enough units for Dreamer to defend. This one DT actually might have to play defensively instead, and it might just go after the Marines. That would be really smart right now. No, he lost one Marine. He should know that a DT is here. So this Vulture back at home needs to start playing Spider Mines, and it looks like it's going to start doing it. Is he going to do it? Where's the Vulture going back at home? Oh no, the DT's going to walk by the Vulture.
Forward! Walking right past it, walking right up the ramp. Oh, he did give away his position here, but looks like Ninja hasn't paid attention to that.
Oh, the scan.
Run his units in. DT gets in the main base. Scatter's trying to finish.
Yeah, and there's one Vulture right now in the main base. He needs to go run that over to the main base. The Dragoon goes down. The one DT scan. He scans the DT at the front, but he doesn't scan a DT at home. He's going to lose all these SCVs at home.
He's gonna have to definitely play passive with these SCVs. He needs to play ring around the rosy while he waits for more vultures to reinforce and lay down
Oh
vulture
my
mines.
god, but these DTs.
Oh my gosh. DTs are so strong. They take 2 mine hits to kill, and as long as his other units are taking the hits, the DT are going to be a huge problem for Ninjo. And now he's losing SCVs.
Oh, watch out for the mine drag! The mine drag! The DT!
No!
Oh, if he gets hit by drag. Oh, okay. Oh man, that would have been incredibly awful for Ninja right there. He needs to be way more careful with the spider mines. But the DT goes down. Okay.
Oh no!
So it looks like that's the last DT that's gonna be there. But again, Dreamer's got that second Nexus. His economy is so good right now.
He is able to replace those
GG. Immediately from Ninja. In fact, not even gonna try.
You know, I think he GG'd too early. I mean, even though he went for the 2-fact timing and it didn't work out, he was still in a position to just mine up and take his own expansion and try to go for the long game like he did on Circuit Breaker. I think he gave up too early, but just it was unfortunate for him the way things worked out with the timings, the DT running past just as the vultures come in to lay spider mines, and but just great. I love seeing these unorthodox strategies. I thought they were totally both going standard. I'm glad they threw that back in my face. What an exciting match to cast.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that he might have GG a little early, but I think that he felt like, if you think about it, a 2-fact is basically an all-in. Like, he has to kill that Nexus at the very least. And he basically just got no probe damage at all. Nothing, didn't kill the Nexus and ended up losing his entire army. No tanks at all. So, at that point, I do feel like GGing there is okay. It's acceptable. I don't think it was too early. Obviously, if I was playing, I'd probably just have stayed in the game and probably just died to like a 3-base aggression build from Protoss, because that's probably what Dreamer was going to do to end the game fast. But, yeah, I mean, again, what an incredible series right there. A 3-game series that it just felt back and forth the whole way, and that was by far one of the best CPL series I've seen so far.
It's definitely the most exciting one I've casted so far with you, Flash, and I'm super excited. Even though Ninjo lost, I'm keeping a mental note on that guy. I mean, I already knew about Dream, and I already know the level of play he can bring to the CPL. But Ninjo's a wild card, and man, what a wild card! Any coaches out there that are going to watch this cast or hear about him possibly through us, I feel, would be a good Terran pick for your team. I don't know where this guy came from, but keep your eye on him.